There's a lot of really dangerous Tier 8 tanks, but out of all the Tier 8s I have to fight, I have to say the SU-130PM is by far one of the most annoying. This is a tank that used to really annoy me when I played World of Tanks PC due to its high alpha damage, stupid levels of camo, and rather troll armor profile. And honestly, now that Wargaming has not only buffed Refined Gun, but they've also buffed Camouflage Net, I think the SU-130PM is just as annoying in Blitz. This vehicle has kind of everything going for it. First of all, it has great levels of DPM at 2500 for a Tier 8, that's fantastic. It has solid levels of pen, 265 on the standard, 360 on the gold, 460 damage per shot, 7 degrees of gun depression, a top speed of 50, and a semi-traversable turret. Plus, it's got a really goofy armor profile. The upper plate can actually get bounces, which is weird when I say it out loud. The side profile as well has this, like, angled piece on the back, and sometimes your shell will go in between the turret and the angled back part, and it'll just miss. And when you pair all of that with the 75% camo rating this vehicle has, it's a very dangerous tank. The heck was that? Oh, it's my phone. I was like, what the heck? It's my phone alarm. Sounded like a fart went off. Alright, so what are we going to do here? Well, we have a KV-4 and a VK-45 over on the heavy flank. However, as we can clearly see, these players are, well, not great. We're going to head over towards the medium flank to start, and ideally I'm going to sit close to where this T-49 is, and we'll see if I can get an early game shot off. With 7 degrees of gun depression, it means that you can at least work a ridgeline decently well. However, with our Dracula not spotting anything, I'm going to make a bit of an aggressive maneuver and go up. They have 2 mediums, and I'm just going to make a pretty bold guess and say they're not here. And I think that's the correct guess. We have the Caliban in the back, and boom. Low roll, but it's a pen, and I'll take it. As I said, this vehicle has great camo values as well, so we shouldn't be spotted as long as we aren't shooting and sitting in the open. But now that our reload is back, we have another shell. You can see the great levels of aiming time this vehicle has, and look at that. 501 damage into that player. We're not even detected, so we can just poke right back up once again. Looks like that Caliban may have been the one who spotted me before. We have the AT who's trying to move out of there. I mean, right now we don't have too many opportunities to hit anyone. It's possible. Yep, there you go. Whoa. We hit that. We hit the only red spot. That's actually crazy when you think about it. That is, that's a little wild. Well, we have the M4 Rev, we have the Predator, and we're just going to fire standard shell. 446 damage into his lower plate. Not too bad. Back up. Again, with 2500 EPM, the reload on this tank is not bad at all. And we have another shell. Alright, well, we're just going to wait for now. We can't really hit that Skoda. The Rev isn't really moving yet. And apart from that, not much else is going on. And I don't really see much of a reason to move up. Especially if somebody on their team's going to make that play for me. Okay, at this point, I am going to move. I don't know where their Borsig is, and they obviously have a lot of dangerous tanks, but at the same time, there's really not that much going on. And thankfully, this vehicle is pretty fast, so we can use that mobility to, you know, rather quickly get into position here. The Skoda is going to do whatever the heck he's doing. We got the Rev over here. And I'm trying to figure out what would be the best play. I think the best play would be to... Honestly, I'm going to ignore the Rev. I'm going to ignore all of that. We're going to go for this Borsig, who is located right over here. See if we can get a nice high explosive into the rear of his tank, especially because he just fired. And bonk, there you go. 620 high explosive, especially because that player isn't running Spall Liner. That's a lot of damage. And now we leave. We ignore that player. And we head over towards the Chimera. Honestly, I don't even care if the Borsig shoots me. If he's not running Spall, he didn't know what HE was, so... As you can see, he did not fire a high explosive shell into me. Now what we're going to do is we're going to aim it on the Rev, and we're going to load in a high explosive, and there you go, 568 damage. So even though this game wasn't too eventful, we still ended up dealing 2,500, and by the way, we're not even done. We're also going to be able to get the shell into the Chimera, deal another 210. This was a great example of the SU. The HE Alpha, the mobility, the camo values, all of them worked well this game. And if that shell hadn't have trolled us on that AT, we would have done over 3,000 damage. We ended up dealing 2,700 though, and that was only a third class. If you're looking for just an amazing tank destroyer, I would definitely recommend that this is a tank you consider going for. And, I mean, you can see why. It has everything you'd want. I know that a lot of people like the Scorpion G, and the Scorpion has really two advantages. I'd say the shell velocity is a bit better, especially because it has APCR premium, but it also has slightly better accuracy. However, apart from that, the Scorpion is much larger, has worse camo values, worse power to weight, worse gun depression, and I'd say arguably much worse armor. So because of that, the Scorpion G, at least in my eyes, is just a flat worse SU-130PM. I don't see why you would ever drive a Scorpion when this tank exists. And the funniest part is that this vehicle is usually much cheaper than the Scorpion G. The only reason Wargaming actually has an expensive price tag for the Scorpion is because on World of Tanks PC, the vehicle was the most bought tank ever. So Wargaming said, yeah, let's make it ridiculously expensive for Blitz. But in reality, that's just not the case. It never was, and it never will be. I think the SU-130 has always been a very, very solid contender. So this game we have three mediums. We have a Skoda T27. We have a Type 62. Oh, great. Oh, great. I like how we have two platooning Skoda T27s. And instead of driving their tanks to medium side, they've said, yeah, guys, we're going to go to heavy flank. Just, it's very annoying, because the whole point of a tank destroyer is to support your tanks, and you can't really support them if they're not giving you the opportunity to, can you now? Well, we have the T-77, which we do get a nice shell into. You can see the great levels of aiming time this vehicle has. Super, super good in that regard. And again, you're not really going to bounce any shots in this vehicle. So, is anybody else going to poke here? I don't know, but we're already fully aimed in. Oh, we have a lot of tanks back here. Actually, look at that. 642 damage high explosive into that Scorpion G. What a shocker, we're being flanked, because our team decided that, you know, doing their job on the medium flank was a little too hard for their brains to comprehend. Alright, well, we're going to move up. And we're going to get to the side of the T-77. There you go. 368. That was a massive low roll. And that actually really sucks, because it means that the T-77 could potentially get a nasty bleed into me. But it's alright. We're naming on the T-77. Somehow, that player managed to bounce me. Probably shot me in the upper plate. Now they're taken out of the game. It's all pretty good stuff. RU's basically cooked. So that leaves us with only a few tanks left. We have the 53, which I can just load gold right into. Terrible roll. I don't know what's up with our alpha today, but it's not rolling what I'd want it to. But again, everything else about this tank is doing A-okay. We're getting the damage out we need. Look at this pen. I mean, we just butter through that 53 armor. Like, it doesn't even exist. And honestly, at this point, I'm going to ignore the 53. We're going to move over towards the Blaze, and we'll see if I can get a shell into that player. We're already at a pretty solid amount of damage out at this point. And let's see, there's the Blaze. Alright, keep on going, aiming, and bonk, there you go. 452 damage shell into that tank, and all that leaves us left with is the Chimera. Now, I don't think I'm going to get any more damage in this game, but we still did 3,000. I mean, this battle was just such a good showcase of the SU-130. Once again, we were able to use that high explosive damage to cut right through that enemy Scorpion G. We were able to use the solid DPM and good alpha to outtrade the T-77 and the 53 TP. I will say, though, we had some terrible rolls this game. I mean, what a tragic roll on the heat shells we had. I think the heat alpha is like 390. I could be wrong, but let's take a look. Ooh, maybe it's worse than I thought. It is 390. Never mind. And we were rolling like 330. So, yeah, I mean, there's not much you can do when the RNG department says you're screwed. But we did fine in both games, and it really showcases the SU-130 and its capabilities. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And if you'd like to see more like this, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.